Dear unit holders, as you are aware, following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, the government of Kenya has implemented certain measures to prevent the spread of the disease. These include prohibitions in respect of public and social gatherings and a nationwide curfew. The prohibition against public gatherings makes it impractical for us to hold a physical AGM, and as such, the fund manager is holding this AGM via electronic means with the approval of the Capital Markets Authority, and also in line with guidelines that the Capital Markets Authority has provided to us. The CMA did issue a circular dated 12th June 2020, which outlines requirements for convening and conducting virtual general meetings by approved collective investment schemes and real estate investment trusts. In this circular, the authority granted regulatory flexibility to collective investment schemes to conduct virtual general meetings of the unit holders. This has therefore relaxed the need for in-person unit holder attendance at the AGMs, and until such a time as when the prohibition of public gatherings is lifted, this is the norm that we can now expect. As such, we sought and have received a no objection from the Capital Markets Authority to hold this AGM virtually, and a copy of this approval was circulated to the unit holders with the AGM notice. We thank the CMA for providing a supportive and enabling environment to all collective investment schemes in Kenya, which has allowed us to also continue with our business. The notice convening the meeting was issued to unit holders through various platforms, including email, SMS, postal address, as well as the company's website, in accordance with the fund's trust deed. The annual report for the year ended 2019, together with the minutes of the 16th AGM, were also made available to unit holders through these channels. And I invite the company secretary now to read the notice convening the meeting.
Thank you, Chairman. Notice is hereby given that the 17th Annual General Meeting of the unit holders of all mutual unit trust funds will be held on Wednesday, 29th July 2020 at 11 a.m. via electronic communication platforms and business as set out in the public notice issued on 3rd July 2020 shall be conducted. Chairman, I am pleased to confirm that at the commencement of this meeting, a total number of 796 unit holders have registered and are participating in the virtual annual general meeting. I therefore confirm that the meeting is properly constituted in line with the fund's trust deed and rules.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Unit holders, having confirmed that we have a quorum present, I declare that the meeting is properly convened and constituted. Dear unit holders, a copy of the minutes of the last annual general meeting that we held on 28th of June 2019 was circulated to you, and these have also been uploaded on the company's website, and I recommend that we take these minutes as read. Item 3 of the agenda is to receive, consider, and adopt the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2019, together with the auditor's report thereon. The abridged annual report, which was distributed to unit holders, contains the details of all of these statements. Dear unit holders, my statement is also contained on pages 8 to 12 of the annual report, and with your permission, I request that we take this as also read. Since our last meeting, there has been a leadership transition on the board and the business. After 8 years of exemplary service and stewardship on the board, our esteemed immediate former chairman, Dr. Peter Muthoka, opted to retire from the board, both as a chairman and as a director, with effect from 31st of March 2020. And I am humbled that I have gotten the privilege to take on the baton of leading this board. I also wish to recognize the contribution of the All Mutual Investment Services Board of Directors for their input, oversight, and giving strategic direction to the unit trust over the years. The directors of the All Mutual Investment Services Board retired from service following the change in promoter to OMIG, completed in September 2019. Further, Mr. Peter Mwangi resigned as a Group Chief Executive Officer and Director of the company with effect from 14th April 2020 to pursue other career opportunities in the next phase of his career. We wish him well and thank him for his wise leadership and counsel during the growth phase of the group's operations in East Africa, including the integration of Faulu and the Old Mutual Kenya and UAP businesses. Mr. Arthur Oginga was then appointed to take over as the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Old Mutual Group in Kenya on 15th of April 2020. And the board is confident that Arthur shall steer the business towards the right direction and to even greater heights. Dear unit holders, as you may have read in the recordings you viewed and listened to prior to the commencement of the AGM, the majority shareholder in this business, Old Mutual Limited, has marked an incredible milestone this year as the company turned 175 years. This achievement demonstrates that we have succeeded in staying relevant to our customers and are responsive to their ever-changing needs. I wish to thank all our unit holders and various stakeholders for their continued support and contributions to the success of our business. I will now invite the Principal Officer, Mr. Peter Anderson, to make a presentation on the economic environment, our performance in 2019, as well as give us some insights on the outlook for the year 2020.
Thank you, Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome and thank you for attending this AGM. My presentation this morning will provide you with a review of 2019 and the outlook for 2020. Looking at the economic and market review, economic growth in 2019 was estimated to be about 5.4% compared to 6.3% in 2018. As we look at the stock market performance, the Nairobi All Share increased by 18.5% in 2019, and 2020 year-to-date is down by 20.5%. The negative year-to-date stock market performance has been driven by the foreign investor sell-off as a result of the COVID-19 related fears. Within the Treasury bill market, Treasury bills declined for a significant part of the year to hit the lowest levels last registered in 2013 due to increased demand for government securities by banks after the Central Bank of Kenya cut the base rate from 9% to 8.5% in 2018. The interest rate cap repeal in November 2019, however, caused a spike in the 91 and 182-day T-bill, yields leading to a marginal decline between December 2018 and December 2019 across all tenors. In 2020, yields have dropped to new lows with increased liquidity in the market and reduced lending by the banks to the private sector. As we look at inflation, this has marginally increased through the year of 2019 from 5.71% to 5.82%, mostly on the account of food and fuel inflation. The global markets performance rallied, led by the United States in 2019 due to a change in investor sentiment following a sharp decline at the end of 2018. This change in sentiment was triggered by an unexpected turnaround in monetary policy from the United States Federal Reserve, announcing a halt in the interest rate hikes, citing geopolitical concerns. As we look at GDP growth rates and projections across a number of countries, world economic growth slowed in 2019 on declining global demand and increased uncertainty due to geopolitical events such as the US-China trade war, Brexit within the United Kingdom. Against this global backdrop, a combination of country and sector-specific factors further reduced momentum. After peaking at close to 4% in 2017, global growth has dropped to 2.9% for 2019 and is expected to contract in 2020. As we move to the fund performance, firstly looking at the equity unit trust performance, the stock market has rewarded investors with positive returns, driven by a change in global investor sentiment and the repeal of the interest rate cap from the Banking Act late in 2019. As we look to the balanced unit trust fund, if you recall, we changed the mandate in November 2018 to allow the fund manager greater flexibility in asset allocation to reduce exposure to any assets that are performing exceptionally poorly. The bond unit trust performance has continued to register steady return as yields have remained supported by consistent demand for bonds. As we move to the money market performance, we continue to emphasize our preservation of unit holder capital that is invested in Kenya Treasury bills and deposits that are placed with high quality banking institutions. This is the bedrock of our investment return. I'd like just to touch on a recent development that occurred in this last quarter or so. We launched a tool by the name of Arifa, which is accessible by Facebook Messenger. This will allow our clients and unit holders, or any potential new clients, the ability to sign up, but also to interact and to make switches between the variety of funds that we have. I would encourage anybody who uses Facebook to interact with us, and please give us your feedback. So move on to the outlook for the Kenya economic environment. Economic growth is forecast to slow significantly. International Monetary Fund has forecast a contraction of economic growth of 0.3% within Kenya. Inflation is expected to remain in the upper band of 5 to 7.5%, and due to the effects of taxation on fuel and this domino effect onto other sectors. Food inflation is anticipated to remain subdued as the previous threat of locust infestation has disappeared. Interest rates, yields are expected to decline due to increased liquidity in the market as banks opt to lend to the government as opposed to the private sector due to their concern over the repayment of loans. In the stock market, it is anticipated to be under pressure for the most part of the year. Probable signs of improved performance will hinge on the trajectory of COVID-19 cases and whether economic activity can pick up pace sufficiently. In regards to the currency, the shilling is expected to experience its usual pressure from some increased foreign investor outflows and dollar demand from importers. However, our forex reserves remain strong due to grants and funding from international partners. In conclusion, the scarring effects of COVID-19 are anticipated to flow throughout 2020, with slow recovery in the medium term. This favors an investment environment of a risk-off outlook, with greater allocation to government securities, and where the equities allocation is towards companies with exceedingly strong fundamentals. The old mutual funds are well positioned to take advantage of these opportunities, and through regular rebalancing by the fund manager, we will balance the need for returns with the risk taken. All mutual funds' performance will reflect the underlying mandate and the fund description. Always seek the advice of your Old Mutual financial advisor. And together, please revisit your financial plans every 6 months to ensure they are suitable for your unique circumstances. Thank you.
And now, unit holders, I will call upon Mr. Richard Njoroge of PwC to read the auditor's opinion.
I will read out the report of the independent auditor to the unit holders of Old Mutual Unit Trust Funds. We have audited the accompanying financial statements of the following unit portfolios of the Old Mutual Unit Trust Funds: Old Mutual Equity Fund, Old Mutual Money Market Fund, Old Mutual Balanced Fund, Old Mutual Bond Fund. These financial statements each comprise of the Statement of Financial Position at 31st December 2019 and the Statements of Comprehensive Income, Changes in Equity, and Cash Flows for the year then ended, and the notes to the financial statements, which include a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of the Old Mutual Unit Trust Funds at 31st December 2019 and of their respective net income and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with international financial reporting standards and the requirements of the Capital Market Act, Collective Investment Schemes Regulations 2001. Thank you, Chairman. That is our report to the unit holders.
Dear unit holders, as you are all aware, an opportunity was provided for you to ask questions and seek clarification regarding the financial statements and resolutions being presented. We shall take a few questions now from members who are able to post these on the questions tab, either through the web-based platform or following the prompts on your mobile phone. Owing to time constraints, we may not be in a position to respond to all of the questions, but please note that any question posed and received shall be compiled. Our responses shall be compiled and responses provided on the company's website. I now invite you to once again listen in on the recordings showing you how to submit your questions. The first question we have received is from Alice Achieng, who has asked the following. Why does a client lose the unit value when they invest in the equity unit trusts? I lost a big chunk of my invested principal amount severally. I would like to ask CEO Peter Anderson to respond to this question.
I would like to clarify to let you know that when you invest in the equity fund, you are taking exposure to companies that are listed at the Nairobi Security Exchange in the large part. And the value of shares listed at the Nairobi Security Exchange will fluctuate from day-to-day basis. And this therefore will be reflected in the unit price for the equity unit trust fund. If that volatility is something you're a little bit concerned about, it would be more appropriate to seek the advice of your financial advisor to position yourself into a more less volatile fund. The equity fund is likely to be higher volatility in terms of price fluctuation, but it's hopeful over the long term, and you should be a long-term investor within the equity fund of maybe 5 to 10 years. It should provide a higher return for that additional risk that has been taken.
We also have a question from John Doto Ikandi. Due to the slow or reduced economic activities around the country and the world, what is the future or new strategies you are taking as a company?
For the UAPL Mutual Group, it is important for us to continue to stay relevant as a provider of financial services. So where our customers want to interact with us, whether it is through branches, through mobile and the like, we need to be relevant and accessible to them while providing quality advice. We recognize the immense change that has been undertaken throughout the world in 2020. We do believe, though, that there will be continued focus from our customer base and others who are looking to provide for themselves, provide for their family, and save for the future. It is in our endeavor and our belief that we are a company they can partner with as we provide those solutions that will help them achieve their financial objectives, dreams, and goals.
I trust that we have now given adequate consideration to all the matters contained in the annual report and the questions raised by unit holders. I'd like to remind unit holders that we will still receive questions, compile our responses, and post those on the website and on the AGM platform. So, dear unit holders, following resolutions passed by a poll, and all unit holders have received SMS and email prompts to cast their votes, and voting will close today at 1 p.m. The instructions on how to cast your poll are available on the company's website, on our YouTube channel, and the results of the poll shall be published on the company's website as well. I will now invite the company secretary to read the resolutions to be passed.
Dear unit holders, please note that you can dial the number 0800 720 454 at no cost to support the motions that are to be passed at this meeting. The ordinary resolutions to be passed by the unit holders are as follows. Number 1, to confirm the minutes of the 16th Annual General Meeting that was held on 28th June 2019. The second resolution is to receive, consider, and if deemed fit, adopt the annual report and financial statements for the year ended 31 December 2019, together with the auditor's report thereon.
So we have two resolutions, one being approval of the minutes of the last AGM, and secondly, approval of audited financial statements. And I would now like to request that a unit holder kindly propose that the minutes of the 16th Annual General Meeting be confirmed as a true and accurate record of the proceedings.
This is Irene Wanjiru Njoroge.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Irene Wanjiru Njoroge. Do you propose that we approve the minutes of the 16th Annual General Meeting?
Yes.
Thank you.
I propose yes.
Thank you. If I could please have a seconder?
This is Jacqueline Muiga. I wish to second.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Jacqueline Moiga. I think we will capture that name also for the records. And thank you so much for seconding. And now I will declare the minutes of the 16th Annual General Meeting as approved. And if we can move on to the second resolution, I request that a unit holder kindly proposes that the financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2019, together with the reports thereon, are submitted to this meeting, be and are hereby adopted. May I please have a proposer?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi, this is Omwenge Simon.
Omwenge?
Omwenge Simon.
Omwenge Simon.
Yeah.
Do you propose that we approve the audited financial statements for the year ended at 1st December 2019?
Yes, I propose that you approve the audited financial statements.
Thank you, sir. And now if I could please have a seconder?
Yes, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning. I'd like to second the motion.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Nathan Yego.
Nathan Yego.
Yes.
Thank you, Nathan. I also declare the financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2019 as approved by this AGM. And thank you all for the proposals and the seconders. Dear unit holders, we have now come to the end of our meeting. I take this opportunity to thank you for attending this inaugural virtual general meeting. I trust that we may be able to gather physically next year, God willing, having hopefully overcome the challenges of COVID. And I would like to really thank our service providers for providing us with the appropriate technology to conduct this AGM, and for all of the participants who have, in one way or the other, lent their expertise to make this AGM a success. We have no notice for any other business, and there being no other business, I declare the meeting officially closed. God bless you, and let us all keep safe until we see you again. Thank you.